What's up, my shooting stars? It is your favorite non-binary supernova, Dean Curtis. And I just wanted to make this video to show you guys the finished product. I know we've been making a video where you watch me from start to finish create this unit that I'm currently wearing, but I ran into some equipment issues and my ring light broke in the middle of filming. And rather than to delay the video until my next one comes, I don't know when that's gonna be because the shipping and everything has been delayed. I decided to go ahead and show you guys how the product came out. Please don't be mad at me. I promise that I will make it up to you guys. Trust me, I got y'all. So make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell so you won't miss any updates. But this is the final product. Let me know how you like it down in the comments. Mind you, this is my first time constructing a unit from start to finish, and I must say we did well. We're going to start off with a couple items that you're going to need for the process. Of course, you're going to need a mixing bowl. You're going to need some B2 powder, some developer, a butterfly clip, a knife to mix it with, a spray bottle, and some Got To Be Good freeze spray. So let's get started. I'm going to start by mixing my B2 powder in my mixing bowl. I'm starting off with just a little bit at first, but of course I'm going to use the whole pack, but I just want the consistency to be nice and thick. So now I'm adding my developer, mind you, a little at a time, because we want this to be thick so it won't seep through your lace and bleach the hair. So you can always add more, you can't really take away. So I took my time with this step. Next, I'm going to spray down my frontal so I can lay the hairs back and so they will not get bleached during the process. Here you see me just tying up the hair so I can get it out of our way and we can have a lot of working space. Now I'm taking the Got To Be Glued freeze spray and I'm just spraying it down. I saw this trick where a girl used it just to prevent it from seeping through your lace and bleaching your hairs. So now I am starting from the back of the frontal first, and then I'm going to work my way towards the front. Make sure that you take your time because you don't want to be too heavy-handed and put too much pressure, because then your bleach will seep through and bleach the hair. And we don't want to have to go through that process of trying to fix your bleached hair. So I'm carefully spreading the bleach on the lace, starting at the back and moving forward. A little mental note, you might want to get a knife without the ridges on it, just a smooth surface. I kind of felt like the ridges were scraping it a little bit, and by this being my first time, I was extremely nervous because I did not want it to seep through. But just get a regular knife without the ridges on it, or just use what you got, but prefer a ridgeless knife. Now that we have that process done, I'm just going to flip my lace over, lace down onto some aluminum foil so it can have some good incubation going on. Don't forget to incubate, ladies. Use your foil, it's your friend. I'm gonna set my timer for 15 minutes and I'm gonna check on it every 5 minutes to see the. Let mine sit for 10 minutes and I felt as though I was okay and happy with the progress, so I was now ready to rinse out. Here you see me checking to see if all the knots were bleached. I'm using my Shimmer Light shampoo to shampoo the hair after I rinse off the bleach just to stop the bleaching process. You know, when you're bleaching hair, it will turn orange or it will continue if you don't use the Shimmer Light to stop the process. So in this video, that's what you're going to see me do. Remove the bleach with not warm, not cold, like lukewarm, I guess, room temperature water. And now I'm going in with my Shimmer Light shampoo just to stop the bleaching process. And because I don't want my knots turning orange or anything like that. Now I'm just taking some conditioner. I feel as though if you shampoo, you must condition. I'm treating this just like it's my natural hair. So whenever I wash my hair, I always condition it. So I'm just taking some conditioner just to condition after I shampoo. Like, come on now. It's a process. Now I'm just going through, giving it a good rinse, make sure I got all my shampoo, conditioner out, and I really like the way this lace turned out. Next, you're gonna just see me pinning down the frontal so I can braid it up and keep it out of the way. So that's what I'm doing here, just pinning it down, not really putting it on or anything, just so I can give it a good loose braid. Here you see me finishing up that braid, and it's just a little French braid, something messy, nothing serious. Just to have the hair out of the way because we're about to sew the frontal down first. And you just don't want your hair always in your way, you want to have a good working space. So here I'm just pulling the frontal about 1 inch in front of the cap and pinning it down once I'm satisfied with where it is, so we can begin sewing it down. Starting in the middle of the frontal and gonna go to the left side, and then I'm gonna come back and then go to the right side just to prevent it from shifting. So that's what you do, you sew one side down before you move on to the next to make sure it's flat and tight. Oh, I forgot to give my disclaimer. I am not a cosmetologist. I did not go to hair school. I do not know how to sew or proper ways of doing anything like that. I just learned from trial and error and what I've watched on other videos and what I've felt my stylist doing on my head. I have a whole stylist. Shout out to Beyond Vanity Beauty Bar, Style by Kit. If you go to any of my pages, you will be able to find her. But this is just something I wanted to try. Once again, I am not a cosmetologist. I do not know how to sew or any of these things. I did not go to hair school, so I'm just doing what works for me. Now that I have my left side done, I'm just going to repeat the same process down to the right side to lay this frontal down. Now that I have sewn the frontal down side by side, I'm taking my wefts of my first bundle at the ends and just pinning them together so I could place them where I want before I start sewing. Off camera, I did go ahead and just draw some lines. Now these lines aren't perfect. These lines aren't actually even where I'm going to sew. They are just used for guideline purposes, so you can just have an idea of where you're going. So now I'm just sewing my first weft in place using the underhanded method, just attaching that to the line or somewhere in the line that I had previously marked out. I'm going to follow this process through the entire first bundle, just going from left to right. You want to make sure that you are not directly sewing the wefts on top of each other, because then it would become bulky. So I'm sewing it right under, we double our wefts. So I'm sewing them so they lay right under each other. It may look like it's on top of each other, but trust me, it is not. Only time you'll see me knot my wefts is when I'm by the band, so it will not slip, because I am not cutting my wefts. I am actually doing the flip over method. I don't believe in cutting my wefts. I really do not care, but I do not believe in cutting my wefts. So when I get to the band, that's when I'll be knotting. Look at me getting distracted. Yes, P Valley. I am watching P Valley. You gotta have a good show on while you were doing this. As I told you girls earlier, I am doing the flip over method. So right now I'm just pinning the track in place, trying to make sure that where I flip it, where I want it to line when I flip it over. Now when you are using the flip over method, you must take your time when trying to make sure that when you flip it over, it is as flat as possible, because you do not want your wig to bunch. You do not want it to be bulky. So you must make that part that you flip over as flat as possible. And that's what you see me doing here, taking extra precautionary measures to make sure that that part of the track is flat. Once again, you'll see me knotting on the band and where we're flipping over, because we want it to be secure. We do not want any slippage. And once we are off the band, like you see me doing here, we're just regular sewing, just throughout, following the lines to make sure that it's secure. We are doing about 1 inch apart, and we are pulling tightly. You want your wefts to be tight. We do not want any bulking or gaps. follow that process throughout our entire bundle, and this is me coming to an end on the first bundle. Still being an inch apart, making sure everything gets tight, and we're just going to repeat this process for the next 2 bundles as well. Here I'm taking bundle number 2, and I'm going to place her right where we ended bundle number 1 and continue the same process. Here we are on the last row of bundle number 2. Once again, making sure that we are not sewing the wefts on top of each other, but that they place right under each other. Make sure that it's tight and secure. Ooh, child, we done made it to bundle number 3. I repeated the same process, and this is the first time I'm cutting my weft once I came to that last row of bundle number 3. Now the last one that comes between your frontal and your bundles, you want to cut your weft so it will be flat. This is the first time I'm cutting my weft, and I am now securing that last row, because on this row you are actually going to sew it to the cap, but you're going to sew it through that band of the frontal, pulling them together. So I hope you guys understand that. I am sewing my last row down to the cap, but I'm also sewing it, attaching it to the frontal, pulling them together to create a seamless look. I repeated this process from left to right all the way until I was done sewing my very last track down. Don't mind her, y'all. I know she's looking a little rough. We've been up all night. I'm not going to tell y'all how long this video was before I edited it down, but yes, we stayed up all night to do this. At first, I was just going to originally just film me sewing down the frontal, but I got so excited. I went ahead and did the first bundle, and once I did the first bundle, I went and did the second bundle, and next thing you knew, I didn't watch 3 movies up creating this unit, but I was so excited, so I didn't mind staying up all night. Here you see me just making sure that I'm securing that final track, and now here I am cutting off the excess, just making sure that we have no slippage, everything stays into place. I'm just gonna be knotting this last weft down. Right here you see me making my knot to make sure she is safe and secure and won't be going anywhere. Now that we have all of our weft sewn down to our cap, I'm about to go in and cut the remaining of the cap off where the lace will fall. Make sure that when you are cutting off your cap, you do not, I repeat, you do not cut so close that you cut the string that you sewed your weft down to your lace, because if you cut that, your whole unit will unravel and you have done all of this for nothing. So I'm carefully going in about 1 inch away from where I've sewn my lace down to the cap and just cutting off that excess cap. Here you see me just going back and inspecting my work. You always want to inspect your work. Of course, just in case there's some extra steps need to be taken. But that's all I'm doing here, just checking out my finished product. I am so happy with myself. Look at me getting into this lace, looking at my little bleach knots. Now, with my knots, I could have left it on for that additional 5 minutes and bleached it more. But by it being my first time, I really didn't want to make a big mistake and over bleach my knots. So I just went ahead and took it off at that time. And you know, some makeup or something will just definitely seal that trick. But I think it looks good. And here is the finished product. I didn't have to do any additional plucking or nothing like that. This is how this lace came, and I'm happy with it, and I hope so are you. Thank you guys for joining me on this journey. Remember, spread love and no hate.